excited about our pilots. We've been working out at the Vandenberg Space Force Base for a while. They've got soccer fields, community centers, parks, so we're getting a lot of good data. Also, we're just recently starting with the city of Glendale. Really excited to have that because it's much closer to our offices in El Segundo, meaning less travel time, less gas prices, which are very expensive now. So yeah, we're very excited to announce those two pilots. Yeah, so the great thing about having the pilot programs is it gives us real life data out in the field where we're running it and figuring out, how many hours of runtime do we have, how long does it take to recharge it overnight. We're ultimately wanting to get to 7 miles per hour, which will mow over 3 acres per hour, and getting it to, run more and more hours. And whatever we're finding, any difficulties, be it with software, mechanical, we're able to fix it before we ultimately go out to our paid pilots and out to the consumers. Yes, the user interface is great because what we've done is we've hired basically a landscape foreman to take our mower out to these pilot programs and being able to operate it like any other landscape foreman would be able to. So we're making it simpler and simpler to use, the ease of use for the user experience, and we're also finding out what it needs to have and what it doesn't need to have and make sure that it's consistent, especially when it comes to mapping out the perimeter. Before we had to remote control it around with a little joystick around the perimeter. Now we can, on the user interface, look at the perimeter on Google Maps, put your finger around where you want it to go, and it'll memorize that perimeter. So just like we're doing the pilots to get more and more hours of mowing under our belt, we're also utilizing it to make the user interface better and better. Hi, great team. I'd just like to introduce you to Manamit, one of our great software engineers. Brought him to explain some of the things we're working on since I don't understand it all. You do. Manamit, thank you.
Thank you, John. So basically, I govern over our robot's autonomy stack that revolves around the way the robot navigates, perceives the environment, localizes itself, essentially tries to understand where it is in the world. And it's critical when you're designing a robot to make sure when you're mowing lawns, you have to make sure that you're precise because you cannot have aberrant patterns that the robot tries to follow, or you have to be more situationally aware in order to understand non-dynamic or dynamic obstacles that might be in the path of the robot, and you have to be safe because you have blades, right? Which is really critical.
Safety is number one, that's for sure.
So we are working on really revolutionary aspects of the autonomy stack where we are essentially leveraging what autonomous vehicles are using and putting them directly onto a robot to make it more safe and secure and more efficient.
And so what are some of the things that you're working on going forward? What are some of the advancements you see in the next 6 to 9 months?
So right now we are trying to enhance our perception capabilities, and one of the key things that we've been working on is trying to understand more about the environment we are running at, trying to understand smaller obstacles like sprinklers and footballs or other small rabbits, for example, and try to make sure that the robot doesn't go over them or better perceives these objects way ahead from the time it starts, so that it can actually navigate around or stop in a safe manner.
Great.
So we are also working on making sure that our navigation is optimal, so that we don't leave divots on the fields, or we don't harm the land that we're running on by making sure our drive patterns are as efficient as possible and clean. Not only does it reduce maintenance, but also improves efficiency from a power draw perspective, so that we can accomplish more with less.
Great.
one of the additional aspects is now that new advancements are coming in order for robots in general to understand where they are, we're actually able to gather all of this data and make the robot precise to about 10 centimeters. So that every time consistently the same area will be moved the same way without fault.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Manamet.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate you coming and talking to the Grace community about our advancements.
Thank you.